Do you ever remember the boring assignments back in school? Well, in this project, we make creative, engaging alternatives.
Today's assignment, come up with a fictional location, then make a visual of it, such as a map or poster, and present it as a destination. Give lore and a list of attractions you can find there. All right, let's see it.
So keep in mind,
Oh,
I made this presentation 2 weeks ago, and then we delayed it. So this is basically me looking at the presentation from new eyes. So not rehearsed at all.
Perfect.
Don't look at it yet.
Glass, the new national parks of the 2030s.
Oh my goodness.
It should be full screen. Okay, hello everybody. These are the best new national parks of 2030s. There are many, but I'm just going to talk about my favorite two. There are two national parks in this presentation. No way. So first of all, some honorable and dishonorable mentions. Gaza Glass Dunes National Park, unfortunately still radioactive for the next 30 years, and I can't afford PPE. Number two is the Amazon Rainforest National Park, fully designated. 80% of the remaining Amazon rainforest is protected status now. Olympus Mons National Park, newly claimed, I think I misspelled that. Newly claimed territory of Kazakhstan. Yeah, oops. Has yet to even been visited by anyone. Typical Kazakhstan. Mir-a-Lago National Park, super lame, mostly just gift shop. Parking was a lot of money, blah, blah, blah. So, what national parks am I going to talk about? Now for the topic of this presentation, my favorite national parks. And then you're like, no way. But first, some history. And this is where I get into the history portion, so you guys have to follow along. July 14th, 2031, the United Nations passes a new resolution jointly led by the US and China to recognize artificial islands in considering a nation's exclusive economic zone. And for those of you who don't know, it's this little blue area that every country kind of gets a piece of. And essentially, if you basically own like 200 miles off of your coast, you have exclusive economic rights.
So how does that work for the Antarctica region? Portions of Antarctica that aren't claimed.
I think that all of that is protected by the United Nations, and if you want it for research purposes, that's what that's for. It's not for mining. It's just for scientific preservation. But this
Very
is
interesting
a real concept.
Agreed to this, considering China's so far ahead of us in artificial islands.
Yes, you would be quite surprised. But it looks like the U.S. had a change of heart, and they in China decided that we're going to change legislation to make sure that artificial islands count for sure. No take-backsies. So here are the requirements for an island to be considered EEZ allowed. First of all, its composition. Artificial islands must be constructed using solid materials and covered in natural substances. Sand, stone, soil, shorelines are only defined by the border presence of those substances. Population. Artificial islands must contain a permanent population of at least 10 residents. These 10 residents must reside at least 330 days of the year to count as permanent residents. Social services. Basically, they have to cater to the needs of the population, including a few examples here. Permanence. Artificial islands must be anchored to the seafloor and must not drift more than 1 meter in any direction as measured by satellite. Travel. Artificial islands must be open to the public to tour. A nation need only to offer its own citizens opportunity to visit, but that's not a restriction, it's just a suggestion. South China Sea artificial islands are officially recognized, and so China has a whole bunch of islands in here, just as Brian said, and all of that is now China's economic zone. Sorry, Vietnam, Cambodia, all these other countries, nope. It's all China now. Cha-ching, here's some pictures of them, very pretty. And China just said, hey, we're going to put 10 people down there, and they're going to live there forever. So September 16th, 2031, the start of the Great Pacific Island Wars. And we see that just a cascading effect of how the EEZ rule updates. South China Sea Island is recognized, and then the U.S. begins constructing on a secret island in the East China Sea, and then U.S. announces the completion of Kamala Harris Island. No way. There it is, Kamala Harris Island. Any questions so far? Also, by the way, this is President Kamala Harris. She's currently fighting prostate cancer.
She's fighting prostate cancer?
Pancreatic cancer. She has pancreatic cancer. That's why she looks a little off in this picture.
Gotcha. Pancreatic. It's easy to mix those up.
And so this was made using a little bit of Japan's coastline and South Korea's coastline. And so the U.S. now has an official stake in the China Sea conflict. And China's not going to be too happy about this. Xi Jinping sees this as a challenge to Chinese dominance in the region and declares island war.
Still in charge in 2031.
Still in charge. He just loves.
It looks really good.
So China converts some ships to be island makers. Kamala Harris Island was made with the help of hundreds of ships from 4 nations. Island makers need only 1 ship. And this is a picture of Da Yingjing 1 Island Maker. Don't look up what that means in China. So anyway, on January 27th to January 29th, 2023, China constructs, in record speed, 12 new islands. They're all along the coast of America and Canada and Mexico. And this is basically just a big middle finger. So now China essentially in their declaration of island war says no U.S., Canadian, or Mexican ships can cross any Chinese EEZ territory, and so you see you got New Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, blah 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 blah. So yeah, it really sucks if you're trying to conduct any economic activity in the Pacific because China basically said no. So February 2nd, Kamala Harris meets at the UN to contest the legality of the Chinese island project. The UN concludes that the islands were made in international waters and that the Chinese actions were illegal. Chinese ambassadors successfully make the case that these islands will, in the coming days, be the world's newest national park, thus satisfying all UN island requirements. Introducing Chinese Pacific Archipelago National Park. Each island is basically the same. And so here they are. These are actual live footage. I have video streams of each island here, and this is what they all look like. There are 12 of them along the coast. So each island has the following amenities. A docking station for the boat, that's what this is. A fake palm tree for tourist attraction, that's what this is. Bolted down beach chairs so that they're not just going to blow away. A green labeled hike path so that if you wanted to get some steps in, you can come visit the island.
What are the chairs bolted to?
We're going to get into that, but it's bolted onto the platform of the island. And all the yellow is sand.
Okay.
So,
okay.
yeah, it's a platform, and then that's sand. Yep. And then Huizhen Octo Prison Deluxe Prefab Citizen Detainment Facility sits in the middle, and that keeps the population above 10. And we're going to get into the construction of the Huizhen Octo Prison. And then the last one is an internet antenna with patriotic Chinese flag attached. So, looking inside the citizen living quarters, it's despite the fact, I guess I didn't catch this, but despite being called an octo,
a dodecagon.
Yeah, it's a dodecagon that only holds 11 prisoners. It features has a bed 4 feet off the ground for underbed storage for food, water essentials, a toilet to dump all contents into the ocean, a desk that comes in with bulletproof glass protecting a computer for two-way communication, windows for scenic ocean views, and a door lockable for only from the outside, accessible hole for moving materials into the room. So
if we're not on the questions yet, where do you get your water from?
Toilet is a source.
What do you mean toilet's a source? It gets dumped into the ocean.
Yeah, it's like it flushes like water, but really, so there's Chinese ships that come and deliver supplies once every 2 weeks to everybody in the hulls, and you can communicate with the mainland through the computer in the wall. And so they'll just open up the door, and then through the little food slot on each room, they'll just pass in 2 weeks of supplies for each person, and then they're expected to dump all their trash into the toilet. So that's
where the toilet gets its water from.
Those some good toilets.
Computer.
The toilet water comes from the ocean itself; it just gets sucked in.
Oh, I see.
The computer.
Okay, I understand.
The computer is built into the wall, and you can only access it through bulletproof glass, and it's basically a tablet that's remotely controlled by the CCP.
2 questions: electricity, internet access.
Electricity. We're gonna get to. And internet access comes from this antenna right here.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes. Internet antenna. Okay, I see.
The Huizhen Octo Prison.
It's just like hydroelectric power.
So I have a question for a suggestion in the future.
Maybe, Brian. We're gonna get to that. What, Max?
So the UN requirements for this island said that it needs to be covered in a natural substance, sand, soil, whatever, blah blah blah. How much?
Yes.
Must be covered in natural substances. Okay, so to what degree? Because obviously that prison thing constitutes a good portion of the coverage of the island. So how much do you need to cover that island in sand for it to count?
To put this in perspective, this is basically a metal plate, spray painted with glue, and then sand poured on top.
No, I understand. How much percentage needs to be covered in sand for that to qualify?
Okay,
surface area wise.
So if I were to extend that building 2 times, right? Obviously, the amount of sand covering would go down.
I was going to answer that, but I didn't have enough time to finish the presentation to the full extent that I wanted to. I was going to say that they made an island with only 2 grains of sand because sand is plural. And they just shaped it down, and then those 2 grains of sand bounce in the water.
Does that work? Would that work?
The problem is that those 2 grains of sand can't drift more than a meter in any direction, and you can't see it on satellite, so it probably wouldn't count.
I have an important question. Can we go back to the 5 requirements for one of these islands?
Yes, it meets
the third requirement says that there should be medical services.
Yes, medical services means that if an injury occurs, they can use the computer to contact a helichopper, which the helichopper would come in.
Okay, so if I break my leg, and I can't get up to use the computer tablet in the wall, how do I contact the
you
Hello
can't-
There's
Shopper?
other people. There's other people.
No,
Yeah,
so
at the
realize
same
that
time.
the computer in the wall is remotely controlled. So it sees everything in the prison
Oh,
until you
okay,
just
there's a
talk to it.
camera. Okay,
Oh shit,
okay.
go back. Yeah. Any service that you may need or any product you may need can be flown in the 2-week shipment supply, or if it's an emergency, somebody could go out there. So that'd be the emergency service.
Okay. And if I have like a grudge with my cell neighbor, how would we settle that dispute?
You can't see anybody. Maybe if they're being too loud, that really kind of sucks. Like there's nothing to help you with that because these windows have like a little hole so you can hear from your nearby neighbors, and you can hear through the walls.
Because they mentioned there would be like judicial surfaces as part of the requirements,
Yes.
and so
Yes, this is a prison.
Yes, this is a prison.
Oh, okay. That's okay. That's what this is considered a judicial. That's okay. Whatever.
And it only services inmates with a year-long detention or greater. Anybody else? Nobody else. All right. Moving on. So here is the side profile. You have the island and then the island support structure. These are island drift engines that can propel the island in any direction it needs to be, and it's powered by a nuclear reactor core. And then at the very bottom is an ocean anchor, and this is one stiff carbon nanotube pipe. And yes, China does get that advanced in just a few years with a little anchor at the bottom.
So why would you want to drift it if you can't drift 1 meter by satellite?
The idea is that if the ocean currents are forcing the island to kind of drift this way, you can counter drift by pushing water against that so that it remains within 1 meter of its previous location.
I see.
February 16th, Senate passes resolution to create the Island Creation Division, ICD. Congress allocates an additional $60 billion to the U.S. Navy to begin outfitting its own island-building ships to match China's. Navy estimates that they can begin construction of the island starting in July. This is Kamala Harris giving her speech. By the way, in the future, there's a common phrase demeaning her that the Republicans use, Kamala Hairless, because she doesn't have any hair.
I saw a meme about that was a post that said if she had changed her name to Kamala Hairless, she would have won the election. Or like changed her name to that and then also shaved her head, yeah.
I don't know, man.
There is some truth to that.
That blurry image up top kind of looks like a head full of hair.
Nope, that's the back
I
of her head.
agree.
It's just shiny because she doesn't have any hair.
Is it just a blurry image? All right.
It's just
all right.
Just in the future.
And this is recapping that China bans all U.S. trade ships from entering their EEZ territory. New U.S. trade routes look like this, and it's really inefficient, and it makes people mad. But China only has the ability to make 12 islands in a short period before they have to go back to China to restock, and that restock period takes a lot of time. So that's why this kind of just looks like the EEZ map for a while. Anyway, May 23rd to May 25th, Chinese Da Yingjing one island map maker ships finish restock and complete another 12 islands. This time around all of Hawaii. So yeah, there becomes a humanitarian crisis of Hawaii citizens not being able to get any supplies into the island, and everything has to be airlifted. Because again, you can control the waters, you can't control the airs. So everything gets flown in like it's the Cold War all over again.
Did the U.S. consider sabotaging their anchors?
The U.S. is not allowed in the water space, which is 200-mile radius.
What if it turns out that their anchor tech is just bad and they happen to snap?
Well, unfortunately, that doesn't happen because again, we have Kamala Harris as our leader, and she was not very happy with Island War. She didn't want to incite any tension. She just wanted to resolve things peacefully.
All right, I'm excited to see how things peacefully resolve.
Oh yes. So May 23rd, Kamala Harris declares a national emergency over Hawaii. With the Great Chinese Blockade of Hawaii 2032 beginning, all ocean trade with the island becomes prohibited. Air Force coordinates mass drop shipments of essentials onto the island, and this is mac and cheese prices getting as high as $98 per box, starting at the very peak of the Chinese blockade.
Nice wig.
Yes, and so July 1st, July 4th, Juneteenth Island is constructed off of the coast of California, gaining some EEZ access for U.S. trade. This is about 6 months after the Navy got their budget, and so this is New Shanghai Island, New Beijing Island, and this is the coast just right off of San Francisco. At the very tip of where the U.S. still had some EEZ left, they made Juneteenth Island, which wasn't enough to actually cross the barrier, but it did gain a little bit more. Kamala Harris designated it as Juneteenth Island to celebrate the time that the black slaves in Texas heard of the emancipation.
Yeah, how does do you claim existing claimed territory by creating new? Is it just whoever created the most recent territory has the area?
I think it's
So
I think it's
you
halfway.
get 200 miles, but if two, like for example, this one is close enough to this one to count as 200 miles, and so does this one. So the point of the ocean, whose EZ it belongs to, is just whoever's closest to the point. So you kind of get like this, and bam! Just a few days later,
okay, there we go.
Transgender Americans Island is created. And so
I'm very interested to see the national park.
yeah, we're gonna get to that. In 2 days, Transgender Americans Island is constructed to allow the U.S. direct Pacific access, which is amazing. So now all the trade routes can go through this tiny little EEZ corridor, and they don't have to worry about Chinese interference.
Is that where they start sending all the transgenders?
Because transgenders have rights under the Kamala Harris administration. This is just they do get their own island, but it's like a memorial to all the rights that they gained once Donald Trump.
Memorial.
Yeah. All right, and then just a few days later, it took a long time for the Navy ships to get over to Hawaii. Essentially, we get Hillary Clinton Island to celebrate the first potential woman president. She just failed and she was nubbed, so Kamala Harris decided to give her bestie an island and making way for Pacific access to Hawaii. And just as Max would have predicted, we're going to make another island just a few days later, George Floyd Memorial Island, and that ends the Hawaii shipment crisis. Any questions so far?
So
No
I
questions.
guess
Yes, I do
what's
have
stopping
questions.
like China from like for us playing this like game forever where we just like make closer.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
closer
What's stopping
islands?
China from putting 2 closer islands
Yeah,
in
so
their
it'd be pretty
area?
unfortunate if the entire Pacific just gets claimed in the checkerboard of islands, but I didn't want to do that because I was going to take way too fucking long. But I was thinking about doing that. I was totally going to make it so that every single island had like a little checkerboard grid of just U.S. and Chinese trade routes crossing over, and there's just billions of these islands. I didn't want to do that. That was going to take forever.
That actually has a very interesting ramification of like you could sort of draw a line and then you just like if you truly connected your islands all the way around like a fence with 0 meters between them, that would be completely encased and it would be impassable.
Yeah, I was going to take it to that conclusion, but I didn't have a lot of time, and this was actually taking a long time. I didn't realize how difficult it would be to make all these visuals. I'm getting rusty, I guess. I also did all this on Linux because I wanted to see if Linux version of MS Paint was any better, and it sucks ass. So please don't make the switch. The trade crisis is over, and now we look at the American islands. Wow, we have to shit on cars and parking lots.
Go!
Oh yeah, so taking inspiration from the approved Chinese islands, here's how the American islands fare instead. Each island amenities, a docking station for boats, a fake palm tree for tourist attraction, advertising billboard. Each island is sponsored by a different U.S. company. This one was McDonald's, but others get different restaurants. 16-car parking lot for visitors, a dock for visiting boats. I think I did that. Oops. Oh well. Fake palm tree, internet antenna flag, and then prison compound. They didn't even try to pretend this was anything other than a prison compound. Here's the inside of the US version of things. This one, they decided to one-up the Chinese by having 12 possible prisoners having their spot. And because they needed a little bit better conditions than the Chinese version, they have a whole suite for a resident warden to stay on the island and essentially cater to the needs of the people staying in the prison compound. And so you can see they have a bedside table, a bed, dresser, TV, a full bathroom and a kitchen. And then the prisoners, each of them get locking doors, window access, toilet, sink, and bed.
Nice.
No way. Any questions about this one? August 19th, China and America signed the Pacific Unity Pact 2020 or 2032, agreeing to a halt further island development. November 16th, 2032, America designates all of its artificial islands as a single national park, Charlie Kirk Islands National Park. The reason for this is the congressional Republicans were threatening to defund the islands unless they got to name the national park, and so they named after Charlie Kirk, and it includes the following islands.
But all the islands are the same names.
Yeah, so these are islands within the national park. All right, and here comes the National Park Poster Contest. The National Park Service conducts a National Park Poster Contest to represent the new park. They cannot design their own posters due to severe budget cuts. Each island gets its own poster, and the park as a whole gets a poster. So that's how many posters is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 posters. Each island gets its own poster, blah, blah, blah. Thousands of submissions, only a few winners. Each citizen can only cast a single vote across the entire contest. So you could put your vote in for just the main park poster or just the Hillary Clinton Island, but you don't get 6 votes. You only get 1. And the votes were open for just 1 week. And they posted this, and honestly, a lot of stuff was going on at this time, so it didn't really get a lot of news press, but some niche corners of the internet decided to take advantage of the pure chaos that could come about a poorly funded national park poster contest. So here are the winners. But first of all, does anybody want to guess what happens in this before I reveal who won?
Yeah,
No
I don't
takers.
know where you're
I don't know
taking
where
this.
you're going with this.
All right, so a subreddit called r/Kamala Harris Island poster decides to funnel all their votes into humiliating posters for Kamala Harris Islands. Through vigorous debates and a few rejects shown here, their final pick won the online vote. So these are just some of the highly rated ones. All of these getting thousands of votes, by the way, but one in particular got the most votes, and it was this one. They didn't actually make this one. This was actually found on DeviantArt years ago, and it depicts Kamala Harris stuck in an iron coffee cup.
Is this the thing that you sent?
Yeah. So
Oh my God.
so this one and is apparently a fetish piece, and you can read the whole blurb. But this one won the contest with 63,000 votes. It just talks about Kamala Harris being stuck in a humiliating pose where people gawk and laugh. But yep, this won the Kamala Harris Island poster contest officially with 63,000 votes. Next up, Juneteenth Island poster. Black Twitter spread a few viral contenders, but ultimately choosing a photo of Marquise Brown in hopes of raising awareness in the recent killing of Marquise by St. Louis police officer Daniel White. Marquise was just 17 years old and unarmed at the time of his death. He was shot while peacefully fleeing police in 2029. This one got 19,000 votes.
Nice.
Man, I
Any
hope you
questions?
didn't just predict some shit.
Yeah, let's hope that Marquise Brown doesn't actually die. Transgender Americans Island poster. 4chan and trans subreddits fight very hard to get their poster selected, coming only a few thousand apart. Second place is a graphic picture of the surgery.
Back one more. Can you go back once? Okay, the disparity in vote counts is insane.
Yeah, this is by far the two most voted for posters in the entire contest. 4chan got everyone on board to vote for this one. I blurred it, but the actual one on the website for 2 weeks straight was not blurred. But the first place that actually did one was this flag. Is just very simple. All the trans subreddits were like, hey, you go vote because this can't possibly be the flag for Transgender Americans Island. So yes, you're welcome for blurring that, but it's very gory. Next, Hillary Clinton Island. There wasn't really a major effort to elect a poster. So this one got 4,000 votes. There wasn't any Reddit community or 4chan. All 4chan was dedicated to the transgender one. But Hillary Clinton, nobody really cared, and so this one just happened to win. George Floyd Memorial Island poster. The Floyd family made it very clear in Facebook post that they only wanted a photo of George Floyd to be used. Actually, a lot of black people decided that that's actually kind of noble, so this one won. Not too many people cared. Charlie Kirk National Park. Numerous Facebook pages and Donald Trump himself pushed the winning design. This was actually posted originally by Donald Trump, saying that this is the one that he was going to vote for. We need a good poster for beloved Charlie Kirk. What a nice young man. I miss him so much. I vote for this one. I vote this one. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And this is the one.
So he's
for Charlie Kirk National Park.
So he's still alive in what, 2033?
If Xi Jinping's doing it,
Yeah.
Yeah, Donald Trump is still going, and somehow he's still getting 7,000 retruths, whatever that means, on the post.
I noticed that.
Yeah. Upon completing the poster contest, the National Park Service was instructed by Congress to remove the advertising posters due to their controversial nature. That's it.
And so, what were your two favorite national parks?
China's national park and the U.S.'s national park, presumably.
Yeah, these were the two.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I think I called the Chinese one. I think it was Chinese Pacific National Park, Chinese Archipelago National Park. Yeah, right here.
I have to say, those images of Kamala hairless were absolute. I was dying the entire time. Every single time I sent a screenshot, just know that I was like actually busting up laughing on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
so much.
That's a good one. With a
one pro of the Linux version of MS Paint is that you can rotate images before they're solidified. So
nice.
I got to do that.
All right.
That concludes my national park.
The score is. Oops, what the frick?
And your score.
23.
No way! Let's go.
93.
Let's go.
So he lost points
Indeed.
on poster.
Just picture.
Yeah.
One of them, Max, was literally an AI picture that I didn't even make of Kamala Harris in a coffee cup.
Yeah, it looked pretty AI. And stay tuned for next time, Max's Procrastinated app.